Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session number 2 of the business training that the Hubiquitous project in consortium under the coordination of Insomnia DIH has prepared for you to support the definition of your business idea. So, thank you very much for joining, and let's start with the second training session.
So, as we have done in the previous sessions, we are going to start with a brief recap of what we saw in the last session, which was we studied the value proposition. After that, I will introduce you what we are going to see in the session of today, and then we will start developing the key activities, the key resources, the key partnerships, and the cost structure that compose the business part of the business canvas model. So starting from this brief recap, we can see here that in the last session, we saw the value proposition. We started the session just with the design thinking methodology. And with the design thinking methodology, we just defined the problem, identified problem in order to define the solution. And with that solution, we just develop the value proposition that, as we said, makes the difference of our solution. So I hope you have worked on this point because it is going to be really useful in order to define the new concept that we are going to see today. And I hope that the design thinking methodology is useful for you in order to define the problem and the solution as well. So let's start to see what are we going to see today. So today we're going to see the left part of the business canvas model. That is the different components that compose the internal part of this of your solution, and they are on one hand the key activities. These represent the different activities that you are going to develop in order to meet your value proposition. That is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do during all the life cycle of your solution? And we're going to see also the key resources. The key resources are the material resources and also non-tangible, the non-material resources that you are going to need in order to also meet the value proposition and in order to develop the activities that you have previously defined. And sometimes you will need the help of some key partners. The key partners are these people or businesses that you are going to contact and that you are going to include in your business model, just in order to cover all these parts or all these resources that you cannot afford on your own. For example, as I mentioned in previous sessions, the logistics part of your solution is could be one of the areas that you need to cover with a key alliance with a key partner. Okay, they are going to facilitate these resources that you do not have in your business. And finally, we are going to make an introduction to the cost structure of your solution, and this cost structure just represents the cost proportion that you are going to assign to the different activities of your business. Okay, for example, with how much money you are going to need in order to develop the marketing activities, or to develop the technological activities, or to pay to your human resources that are going to be one of the key resources of your solution. The next point that we are going to see today are the key activities and also the key resources that we need in order to develop or to meet this value proposition. Okay, we gave you a template, and we are going to resend this template each time to you, or you can revisit all this template on our website. And right now we are in the point 4 of this template. Okay, that is going to be this one that you can see here. It is similar to the one that you have in the template, and you have to fill the key activities and the key resources answering to some questions. And these questions are, first of all, you have to wonder what are the most important actions that I have to perform in order to succeed in my business. And on the other hand, I will ask myself also what kind of tools or resources I need in order to conquer my idea. Okay, you can use the template, add new slides, or whatever you think it is necessary in order to develop the point of your business model canvas. Okay, And here we give you a tip in which you can see four categories of key resources. And these key resources may include, for example, the physical resources. Maybe you will need a building, or you will need a lab, or you will need some computers in order to develop your idea, machines or raw materials, okay? Then you have the intellectual resources, and the intellectual resources are, for example, a brand. Following with the Coca-Cola example, you will know that Coca-Cola is a brand that is really today it's maybe the most valuable resource of the brand. Coca-Cola is the brand is the intellectual resource that they exploit in order to grow or to reach this market segment, okay? And a patent also, the patent of the formula is also an intellectual resource that is really valuable for this brand, for Coca-Cola. And then also the partnerships that you can develop in your businesses are also intellectual resources. Then you have the human resources. For example, if you have technical designer, a designer that is going to design all the marketing campaigns. This is human resource that needs to be really creative in order to promote your solution, and also the experience of your human resources. For example, if you need a programmer to develop software solution, this is also the human resources. The experience of this programmer is going to be the human resource that you are going to need in order to develop the solution. And finally, you have the financial resources that are represented by, for example, credit or cash. That is the money that you are going to need, for example, to do an investment or to buy new materials. So starting with the key activities and key resources, we can see here that a definition, a more detailed definition of what the activities are. The activities are the most important actions that a company must perform in order to operate successfully, okay? Like the key resources that we are going to see in the following slides, these activities are going to be necessary to create and to deliver the value proposition to the final user, also to reach the existing or the target markets and even new markets, to maintain the customer relationships that we will see in the next session, and to generate also the revenue for our business to be sustainable, okay? These activities are going to be like this. If the heart is of our solution is the value proposition, the activities are going to be like the legs or the arms that perform these actions in order to meet the value proposition. And they depend on the type of the business model that we have developed, okay? And we have here three types, include here the three types of business model that we can develop. On one hand, we can have, for example, a production business. That means that we are going to deliver a final product to the users, and the production model is related to the design and to the development and the delivery of the product or solution, okay? For example, imagine that you have developed a car, and this will be a production business. Or for example, imagine Sarah has a production business model in which they produce clothes to sell these clothes to you, okay? It is a physical solution that arrives to the final user. Then we have also the business model that is related to the development of a platform or of a network. For this kind of business, the platform or the network is the key resource that we are going to deliver. For example, just imagine that what you do is a website, okay? You have a specific technology to develop websites. So the platform that you are going to offer to your final users, this website with different templates that you can offer to the final user, these are your key resources. You're going to have this technological platform. Or for example, remember the example of the Moodle, that is a platform that is used for e-learning. Moodle, the Moodle platform is the key resource of this brand, okay, and of this business model. And finally, we have these business models that are based on the problem solving, okay? Production, platform or network, and problem solving. Problem solving is related to the development of solutions that are designed to solve the customer problems. Okay, for example, a consultancy firm offers that kind of services. Okay, a hospital that tries to solve the problem of ill people is another business model based on services. Okay, and other kind of services that are non-material. They are non-material products that you are offering to your final users, and maybe they are related to, as I have said, a consulting firm that is based on a business that tries to earn money from the necessities of the final users, or maybe a hospital that works on a different cost structure, but their objective is not to earn money, but to save lives. So here you can have different kind of business models. So you have to keep in mind how your business is going to be sustainable in time, but you have to clearly define the activities that you are going to develop with your final users. And you can take as a reference these three kind of business models that I have included in this presentation. Here we have some examples of some activities and key resources in different kind of businesses. For example, if you are developing a research and development activity, imagine that you are an innovation or a research and development center that is developing continuously, for example, a software solution including artificial intelligence. Just imagine that you develop that kind of solutions that are really, they are based on a technology that right now it's growing and needs a lot of research in order to develop proper solutions. So the kind of activities that you can perform if you are a research and development firm, maybe you can, for example, research for new products is one of the activities that you can develop. Not only the research in order to find the best technologies or the best solutions, but also the development of these new products. Or maybe if you are more focused on innovation, you can update products that already exist, including new technologies applied to this field. Or you can also perform quality controls. For example, imagine that you have a customer and you are developing for this customer an artificial intelligence platform. You have researched for the best. You have researched for the best technology, for the best way of application. You have developed or update a new product or update an existing product. And after all this development, and once you have the product developed, you have to perform different quality controls in order to ensure that this solution is going to work properly. Okay, and you also perform innovation activities. These are some examples of activities if you are under the research and development scope. Imagine that you are a production firm. I'm going to put as an example Sarah, the brand, the Spanish brand that is dedicated to the development of different clothes and accessories. For example, some activities that you can perform are the product selection and product design. Maybe you are going to select the different fabrics that you are going to use for the next spring summer season, and you are going to design the different clothes that you are going to sell to your final customers. Then you are going to produce these clothes with the selected fabrics, and according to the design you have developed, you're going to produce all these clothes. And you have to know which is your production, the limit of your production capacity. Imagine that you only can produce, I don't know, 1,000 jackets. You have to know that these 1,000 jackets, you have to sell these jackets online and also sell these jackets in physical stores. So you are going to maybe, according to the production capacity, define a different campaign for a different piece of clothing according to the production capacity that you have for this cloth. Okay. You have also to plan the production in order to be more efficient. Production planning is another activity. and also to control the production. And that means that you are not going only to control that everything is working properly and that everything is going according to the plan, or you are fulfilling or you are under or over your production capacity. You are also going to control the quality of your production. That means if you have produced 100 jackets and 2 of these jackets have you have experienced any problem, or you have seen any for example, imagine that the sleeve is not properly done, you are going to take these 2 pieces of clothes and you are going to eliminate it or destroy it or whatever, just in order to avoid that these pieces of clothes appear finally in a store and a customer could buy a piece of clothes that it's not well produced. Then you have also to control the quality. This is one of the this is the thing that I have previously exposed, and also the cost, because you have to be cost efficient in order not lose money during the production of your final products. You have also going to perform inventory control, just in order to know which the number of clothes that you have in your in the different you have stored, and which pieces of clothes you have you have sold during all this season. So you have to know the quantity of the different articles that you are selling, which is the quantity that you have in the beginning of the season and by the end of the season. Because, for example, if you are Sarah, you are going to sell all these articles that you have not sold by the end of the season. You are going to sell these articles during the sales period, for example. And if you are producing, of course, you have to do the machine maintenance and renewal in order to ensure the quality of your production, because a machine that is not properly maintained will lead to problems during the production cycle. Okay, so these are some examples of activities that you can perform if you are a production firm. Of course, there are some activities that are related to sales and customer services that come after. If you are developing a marketing activity, for example, you have to define the strategy that you are going to follow in order to define the marketing campaign. You are going to perform also market surveillance activities. That means that you have to study what the competence is doing, or what are the needs of your target audience and things like that. You are going to keep an eye always on what is happening with your target audience, with your competitors, and with other partners or firms that are related to your activity. For example, you are going to develop activities of product development, because the final product, for example, the packaging or the final design of the product is also depends also on marketing. And depends, and the marketing is really aligned with the firm values. Okay, you have always to transmit a constant and a coherent message to your target audience. You are going to perform the communication campaigns also in order to promote your products and to promote your firm. And you are going to develop sales support activities in order to help the sales team to perform this sale of the different products. Okay, marketing and sales are always working hand by hand. And finally, you have the sales and customer services. You have to manage the different problems and the different complaints of the customers in order to keep your customers satisfied with your service and with your products. You are going to give sales assistance. For example, if you go to a store of Sarah, you are going to have different people that is working to assist you if you have any problem, or if you need a specific size for yourself, or if you are doubting, if you don't know if a piece of clothes is in one color or another, you have these people that is answering all your doubts and that is selling you and assisting you during and even advising you during all the process of buying a piece of clothes in a store. You're going also to perform office tasks. Of course, these are the people that are in front of a computer doing all these tasks that during the production or during the marketing or during the research and development process are not performed. And maybe there will be specific tasks that are related to different positions. For example, it is not the same if you are trying to sell or to buy a specific material to a business, or if you are just a sale, just a commercial that are selling face-to-face with a final customer, okay? You're going to have like different levels inside the company, and you're going to have specific tasks according to the specific position, okay? We have a lot of examples, but I invite you to enter in LinkedIn and to look for different profiles that develop different commercial actions in order to see which are the tasks that they have assigned according to their positions. Okay, this is a good exercise in order to see which kind of commercial or sales profiles you are going to find inside a firm. Okay, so for example, I would like you to search on LinkedIn a person that works in Sarah, and not in the store, but in the offices, performing other kind of sales. Also, a person that works in a consultancy firm, for example, PricewaterhouseCoopers, just in order to see what they are doing. And another person that is working in the commercial department of a research and development center. So just to compare the different tasks that they develop. And another important point is to know that you can have different activities under the same business model. For example, you can have, just continue with this example, you can have research and development activities just in order, for example, to find a fabric that is more sustainable and that respects and fights against the climate change, or to develop a new production method that reduces waste, for example, and this could be research and development activities. You are going also to perform these production activities that are related to the production of the final clothes. You are going to perform also marketing activities in order to sell your products or to promote your brand. And of course, you're going to have sales and customer services. So the same brand can perform different activities under the scope of these different areas that I have exposed in this slide. Here we have, for example, three examples of the three business models that I have exposed previously. The first one is a production business model. For example, imagine a company that is producing pantyhose. Okay, so what are you going to offer? You are going to offer a pantyhose that lasts longer and are going to save the consumers money, since they have a better quality, and this money, if this quality is not as high as the one as our pantyhose, the customer will otherwise spend on frequent replacement of this pantyhose. Okay, this pantyhose provides resistance so that the feet do not slip in the heels that you wear, and is machine washable. That adds you have developed a product that is comfortable for the customer, because they do not have to spend time washing this pantyhose with their own hands. And it is easy also to store in containers. This is your value proposition. This is what you are going to propose. And in order to meet this value proposition, you have to perform different activities. And these activities are, for example, the manufacturing production of the pantyhose. You have also to manage the website, the online orders, and the logistics of the different products. You have to create also a brand strategy, to develop marketing and promotion activities, and to develop product and packaging design, okay? And this product and packaging design is related to the marketing department, for example. If we put an example of the problem-solving business model, we are going to imagine an automotive service company, okay? The value proposition of this company is going to be that the cars maintenance, they're going to develop cars maintenance to keep the cars healthy. Thanks to this maintenance, your clothes and your garages are going to be clean and tidy, and you're going to save customers time and help them to avoid the breaking down of their cars through this maintenance, okay? So your solution is car maintenance, And this is your value proposition. And which are the different activities that you have to perform. For example, to change the car oil, you have to perform other maintenance work related to the engine or to the wheels of the tires of your car. And you are going also to promote your services to the customers through upselling and other marketing activities. What is upselling? Just imagine that a customer comes to the company and asks for a change of the car oil, okay? And you are going to say, okay, I can change your car, your car oil, but I am going also to offer you a revision and a maintenance of the tires of your car. And I'm going to make you a special offer if you just buy a new tires, because I see that the ones that you wear are a little bit old and you need to change them, for example. And your wheels will work better, and you are going to spend less fuel during your travels with better wheels. And this will be the upselling, okay? And the final example is the platform example. Just imagine a company that has a platform that helps to the workload relieving inside the company. So the value proposition that I offer is that I have an architecture modeling that is low cost. My platform is agile and available when customers need it. It is on the cloud, so you are not going to need physical space to store the program. I have my own servers, and you are going to store the platform in this server, so you don't have to buy anything or extra storage in order to install my platform. My platform is also environmentally friendly, especially if the client company is willing to forego travel. It is efficient and effective, and it involves minimal risk because the security and cybersecurity activities are also performed by my team, and the cybersecurity level of the platform is really very high, for example. And which are the kind of activities that you are going to develop? Well, if it is based on the cloud, you are going to develop this architecture and to model this architecture as a service in order to offer this platform to the final customer. You are a cloud-based enterprise architecture software as a service. That means that you have to take into account the specific architecture that an enterprise has, not a final user as you and me. For example, just imagine that you're using Google Drive. Google Drive is a cloud service. Your requirements are not the same as an enterprise, because an enterprise will have more cybersecurity and more restrictions, or maybe they will need more storage in order to keep into all the different documents that they are using. And I am going to perform frequent health checks for the architecture in order to ensure that it remains robust with the changing environment. In order to define the activities that we are going to develop, I give you here a tip, and it is to define the value chain of your solution. Okay, and the value chain is divided in two kinds of activities. The first one are the basic activities, and the basic activities are, for example, the internal logistics. That means how do I get all the resources that I need? For example, if I need to buy fabrics, if I am a firm that is developing clothes, how am I going to supply myself with fabrics, with machines, and with all the material that I need to produce? For example, this is internal logistics. The operations, okay, that is the transformation of the raw materials. How am I going to transform this fabric into a final piece of cloth? The external logistics, how am I going to deliver the product to my customer? The marketing and sales that represent the visibility and communication of my brand, and the post-sales service that is going to improve the customer experience, and it's going to allow the constant improvement of my firm. For example, imagine that I have bought this jacket in Sarah, and when I try on this jacket at home, I don't like it, so I come back to the store and I want to return this jacket, and the girl or the boy that assists me when I go to the store is really, really nice and makes things really, really easy. I'm going to come back to Sarah, okay, if this happens. This is the post-sale service that I've mentioned. And then you have the other activities that are the support activities. The basic activities, of course, are going to be in the base of my business, and then the support activities are going to work in a transversal way, okay? They are not like blocks, they are going to join the different blocks of the basic activities, and they are going to allow to the business to work as a whole. So for example, we have the purchases, that is the acquisition of raw materials. I'm going to need this internal logistics, but in order to feed this internal logistics, I have to develop or to purchase this product. So this is the purchases, and it is related to the different activities that we have here. Then we have the technological development. I need research and development. I need automation and other techniques in the different parts of all my basic activities. For example, I will need to, in the operations, if my operations are production, I need to automate some tasks, or maybe I will need to automate the relation with the external logistics, with the provider, in order to make the process of delivering the product faster, or I will need to automate some marketing and sales campaigns. This is all related to the technological development. Then I will have the human resource management, because I have people working in the different areas. So I have to manage the different people that is working in these areas in order to keep the talent in-house. And then I have the infrastructure activities that are related to the different systems, for example, computers or software, or the finance that is related with the different basic activities that I have here. Okay, so for example, to put an example, I will need maybe a system in order to control the operations that are taking place in the factory in which I am producing the final piece of clothing that I am developing. And I will also need a software in order to communicate my systems with the provider systems. And I will need also a software, for example, a CRM, a customer relationship management for the marketing and sales operations. And I will also need a software, for example, a chatbot, in order to perform this post-sale service, okay? So this is how you can see the infrastructure activities are related to all these systems that affect the different basic activities that I've mentioned. So this is a good tip in order to identify the different activities that you have to do. Maybe you are not going to have all these basic activities or all these support activities in your business idea. You can have only some of them, not all of them. And just wonder and ask yourself, which activities do you have to perform for these different blocks that I have exposed in this slide, in order to define all the activities that you're going to need in order to meet your value proposition, okay? This is a good skeleton, like a good basis in order to start to define the activities. And then we go with the key resources. The key resources are the most important assets that we have, and the main role of the key resources are making possible the proper behavior of the business, as we can read here. Each solution is going to require different kind of resources, and with these resources, the business can create and offer the value proposal, the value proposition that we have previously defined, okay, to reach also the market, to set the relationship with the target audience, and to generate also revenues, which is really important in order to keep our business sustainable. So here we have the 4 kinds of key resources: the physical, intellectual, human, and financial. Physical resources are related to infrastructure and technology. Here we are going to include the different buildings, we are going to include the vehicles, we are going to include the machines and the raw goods. In the intellectual key resources, we are going to include the brands, the proprietary knowledge, the patents, the copyright, the customer databases, the associations, all of these that are non-material resources. The human resources are the people and the knowledge that they have and their skills. And the financial resources are, for example, a warranty, if you go to the bank and ask for credit, if you have cash also, and all the assets that you need to hire these human resources in order to develop your daily activities. Here we have 2 examples. Imagine that you have a smartphone company. You're going to sell smartphones. So which kind of key resources are you going to need? Well, I'm going to need cell phones, of course, because I need to, this is the main product I'm going to sell. But I'm going to develop other kind of activities. For example, I will need for the marketing activities, I will need maybe a software, or I will need human resources that perform these campaigns. I will need also sales channels in order to sell my products physically or online. I will need a user support service because I'm working with technological devices and maybe some problems may arise. So I will need this user support service that is going to be offered through the human resources I have working in my company. And I will need also platforms for our users. And for example, a platform in which they could download the different apps. And the apps that are software are also key resources that I'm going to need to develop my business. And here we have a flower shop. A flower shop will need human resources. And that means they are going to need florists in order to sell and to prepare the different bouquets. I'm going to need vehicles to deliver the flowers that I'm selling. I will need also a physical store to offer my products and to establish these customer relationships. I will also need a web page because I'm sure that a lot of people is going to ask for the different bouquets through the web page. And I will need also an app, for example, to make follow up the delivery of the product that I have, both through the web page or even in the physical store. The next point that we are going to develop in our business model canvas is the key partnerships. The key partners are going to be those businesses, those people that is going to help us to reach or to obtain all these resources that we cannot obtain on our own, okay? So we have to wonder ourselves who are going to be our key providers. If I'm going to need, for example, a logistics provider in order to deliver my products, and which activities are my partners going to develop during or inside my business proposition, okay? And I have also to wonder myself and to ask myself, with whom should we create key partnerships? Who are the most convenient ones? You have in the template that point, this is the point number 5. And as a tip, first, you have to identify the key activities that you cannot develop. And for these activities that you cannot develop, maybe because they are really expensive or you do not have the resources needed for that, if it will be better to look for a provider or if it will be better to develop this activity on my own, okay? And if the answer is that it is better to ask help, you are going to define here a key partnership. So let's see the concept more deeply. Well, so right now we are going to define which is a partner. A partner or partners, all the partners are the network of suppliers and the different partners that make a business model work, okay? So some companies often create these alliances in order to optimize or to reduce the risk to or acquire resources. So if I want to avoid an expenditure related to a specific resource, maybe it will be more cost effective to create this alliance and to pay for the resource with the specific partner, okay? So there are 4 kinds of alliances. The first one is to create an alliance between non-competing partner companies. That means that I'm going to create a synergy with this partner that is working in a completely different business as the one that I am developing. Maybe we can create an alliance with a competitor that will be competition. And this is another kind of alliance. In order to eliminate this competitor from the market, I'm going to create a partnership with them. I can create an alliance between different companies in order to develop new businesses, okay? For example, if I find a company that is related to my activity, but has a different value proposition and can complement my activity, maybe I can create an alliance in order to expand and extend my market. And maybe I can also create buyer-supplier relationship in order to ensure the availability of materials, okay? For example, I can if I am Sarah, maybe I can create an alliance with a business that it generates these fabrics, and I'm going to buy the fabrics, a specific kind of fabric to this provider, and this is the alliance I have created in order to ensure that I am going to have this fabric available all the times that I require it. So these are the 4 kind of alliances, and we have to know which kind of alliance I want to develop. For example, an example of a strategic alliance between non-competing companies. Imagine that I am this pantyhose firm that we have previously mentioned. I'm going to create, for example, an alliance with a logistics provider in order to ensure that I'm going to be able to deliver the final product to the final customer, and I'm going to avoid all the costs of acquiring the different vehicles and the logistics cost, maintenance of these vehicles, the human resources that are going to drive the vehicles and things like that. So this will be an example of a strategic alliance between non-competing companies, between buyer supplier. For example, this alliance with the fabric provider, it's another example. And alliances between companies to develop new businesses. Imagine that, for example, I'm this pantyhose, and I know a company that instead of pantyhose, it is developing, for example, shoes. Maybe I could create an alliance with this new firm, and I'm going to extend my market, because I'm going to not only reach the people interested in buying pantyhose, but also the people interested in buying shoes. And maybe I could create a marketing campaign that attracts the attention of both products, and, for example, combine the shoes with these pantyhose, just to put a simple example. And maybe the most difficult to imagine, the competition. For example, in the past, Zara and Massimo Dutti were 2 different firms. And finally, Zara has included Massimo Dutti inside their collection of brands under the Inditex brand. And here we have an example of competition. It has eliminated this competitor from the market by acquiring it, or by creating an alliance with this competitor. With this competitor, because Zara and Massimo Dutti are similar brands, and the Inditex now has made a small differentiation between both of them, and has ensured that all the market is covered with the same brands. Okay. And the final point that we are going to see is the cost structure, that is the internal finance of my company. At this point, we have to answer questions such as, will the customers pay for my product or service? And how much am I going to charge for my product or service? And if there will be different pricing for different services. And according to these questions, I'm going to define different, the money that I'm going to need in order to develop my activity. Okay, I'm going to say I'm going to give, for example, a specific amount of money for marketing activities. I'm going to give a specific money, or I am going to need a specific amount of money for buying different machinery, or for the maintenance. And I'm going to need 5 people, and I'm going to pay to these 5 people the different wages, and I'm going to pay this the salary of these people, and this is going to be an amount it's going to have its own concept in the cost structure. The human resources is going to be this concept. So I have to divide it into the different basic and non-basic activities, and I'm going to assign a cost to each point. Okay, so to see a more deeper definition, we have that the cost structure is going to define all the costs that I have incurred to operate the my business model. Okay, so I have to identify and order all the different costs and items and types. For example, we have to make a distinction between the fixed costs, the variable cost, the semi-fixed costs, and once we have divided the different costs, in this division is key to make decisions related to the efficiency and to the scalability of the model. So we have 3 types or categories to divide the costs. The first one is according to the behavior. If I compare this cost with the activity, we have the fixed and the variable costs, okay? And the fixed costs are those that are not going to vary or which are going to have a small variation month by month, for example. Maybe I'm going to have a fixed cost if I have a contract with a logistic provider and it is going to charge a specific amount for the logistic activity, and it is a fixed tax that it's not going to change month by month. Maybe this could be a fixed cost. Or maybe if I have a constant production, the cost that I pay for the energy that I need in the production plant is going to be a fixed cost. And then we have another variable costs. For example, if I buy different resources each month, if I buy different fabrics, maybe this cost is going to vary month by month. Imagine that, for example, in the summer season, I'm going to buy fabrics that are lighter and that allow my customers to dress for heat, for high temperatures. And then I have, for example, the viscose could be an example of fabric. And in the winter season, I'm going to buy wool that is more expensive than other fabrics that, for example, cotton, that is a fabric that I'm going to buy in summer. So this could be an example of variable cost, because in winter I'm going to have a higher expenditure because the fabric, the raw material is more expensive. And in summer, since the raw material is cheaper, I am going to reduce the costs according to these raw materials. Okay, so we have to divide the costs in variable and fixed, and to see which ones, the fixed costs, for example, are costs that we cannot adjust, but the variable costs, we can adjust these costs according to be more cost efficient. Okay, for example, to reduce a determined purchase, or to be more efficient with the waste of this raw material. Then we can divide the costs also according to its relationship with the value proposition. Okay, is this cost directly related with the value proposition? For example, if I am offering a service, a platform, the development of a platform, the people that is going to develop and to program this platform are direct costs, because I need these people in order to develop the platform that I am going to offer to the final user. Okay, so this could be a direct cost. And an indirect cost, for example, will be the energy that I pay to feed the different computers that I need to program the platform. Okay, so we have costs that are directly related, and others that come from the activity that I perform in order to reach the value proposition, and that are not directly related to the value proposition. And finally, we can also divide the costs according to the related functional area. Maybe this is the easiest way of dividing costs. For example, I can assign costs to the production activity, or to marketing, or to logistics. So here we have the examples of fixed costs, variable costs, direct and indirect costs, for example. So we have, according to its behavior, when compared with the activity, we have the fixed costs. These are, for example, all the taxes that I have to pay as a business, all the insurances that I have to pay also to ensure that my machinery is going to work properly, or for my employees or whatever. Also the rentals, if I need, for example, to rent a factory or a flat in order to set the offices of my business, this is a rental that I'm going to pay month by month. Also the wages of my employees, and some supplies, for example, that are constant over time, and the administration costs. And then we have the variable costs. Okay, as I said previously, raw materials or the shipping costs, because it's going to vary according to if I'm going to make a delivery, it is going to change the cost according to, for example, the weight or the size of this delivery. Some wages that are not constant. For example, imagine that I need to pay temporarily for a person that is working during, for example, the summer months imagine that I am a supermarket and I need more people working with me during summer because there are more people that is buying in my supermarket. So I need a new cashier. So this will be a variable wage. And also the agent's commissions. That means that if I have, for example, a commercial agent that is performing the commercial action for my company, I am going to pay an amount that is previously set with this commercial agent according to the results of their work. For example, imagine that they sell a service that costs $100 and they have a 10% of commission. They are going to receive 10 euros per sale. But if suddenly they perform they sell a service that costs 2,000 euros, they are going to receive 200 euros according to this 10%. Okay, so this is going to change. And according to the relationship with the value proposition, some examples of direct costs, we have these raw materials. As I've said, I need this to produce the final product. The transport for these provisions, the money that I pay to receive these raw materials in my house, in my place. The agent's commissions is also direct cost because I need these people selling the products, and also the price that I pay for these raw materials. The wages for the production of the product are also direct costs because I need these people to develop the final service. And some examples of indirect costs, we have the supplies. That's because I need this energy or I need this water to produce, but it is not something that I pay for directly. The marketing is also an indirect cost because this is something that I need to sell. It is something complementary. The wages of the people that is working in the departments, different from production. For example, the people that works in the marketing department or the people that work in the office, but they are not performing activities that are directly related to this final product. This office cost, the cost that I pay, for example, for the rental of the office or for the material that I need in the office, that is not related with the production of the final product. And also, as I've said, these rentals. And according to the related functional area, we have here an example to see which kind of costs this company will need. For example, we all know Airbnb. Airbnb is this company that offers flats. It's a platform in which you can find different flats or rooms in order to rent for a short time and to spend your holidays. So on one hand, they have costs related to this digital platform. Okay, they have costs related to the development of this platform. That means that I'm going to need to pay for the technology, or if I am not using an open source, or I'm going to pay for the people that is developing or the programmers, and also for the maintenance of this digital platform. And for the web side, I will need maybe to pay for the license. I will maybe need to pay. I will maybe need to pay for the wages of the people that is working on that. And then I have other human resources. I'm sorry, these human resources will not be related to the digital platform. The digital platform will include the technology, the hosting, the licenses, and so. And the human resources, I will pay the salaries of the people that is working in Airbnb. If they are programming the developers, or maybe the people that is working in the customer service, or maybe the people that is working in marketing. Okay, all the human resources. Then I will have the marketing costs because I need to promote my brand, and in that area I am going to pay for the campaigns I need to perform on the internet. You know that Google, for example, has a Google Ads tool, and maybe you can pay for a premium service in order to perform more effective campaigns. Okay, I'm going to pay for these campaigns. I'm going to pay for the advertisement. For example, on Google, I will pay to other webs in order to advertise my service. Maybe not. I'm not going to offer my service on Booking, for example, that is a competitor, maybe I will ask for, I don't know, a small brand that sells clothes or sells shoes, or that is selling other kind of products or services, that it's not a direct competitor. I am going to pay them to put an advertisement of Airbnb on the webs. We have seen all these add-ons that appear in the different web pages. I will pay also for TV advertisement if I consider that it is necessary or not, and also to pay for these services that allow me to send a newsletter to the customer. For example, MailChimp is a tool that paying offers you the possibility to send massive emails. And finally, I will have also the costs of providers. The providers, these are the fees that are paid to the freelance photographers. We all know that on the Airbnb web, we have photos that are not the same pictures that you take with your phone. So we pay to these freelance photographers in order to have more professional pictures to offer in our website. Okay, so this is an example in which you can see the different costs according to the different areas that integrate the company. As you can see here, we have all these areas that are also related to the value chain. But we can see that not all the basic activities or the complementary activities, the support activities are here. We have only some of them. And this is because my business model does not need to define, for example, an internal logistic or an external logistic, because the business model does not require it. So this is what I said what I mean when I said that you don't need to have all the activities. So thank you very much for attending this session. As always, we have this presentation on our website, and you will be able to watch this presentation as much times as you want, and this mentorship, this session. And you will have also the materials in English in our website. And so thank you very much, and have a nice day. Enjoy your time, and see you in the next session.